to the others. So that's a great idea that we basically have this session today with our expert. And maybe, Natalie, you've heard this story recently. Cambridge graduate Alexander Korb once put his music career on hold to dive into AI and software development right after a lecture by Sam Altman. I don't know what Sam Altman told him at that lecture, that a person, a professional musician, stopped his career. However, maybe it was a really motivating speech. So he's just one of many who've shifted to IT with the recent AI wave. That makes today's topic especially relevant. And what does it take really to become a junior software developer? Time, cost, and energy. Our speaker, Natalie, will walk us through these essentials with 7 years in development and 5 years of teaching at Teach Me skills. Natalie Yarish is a pro in what we like to call combat front-end development. Natalie, welcome and thanks for joining our discussion today.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks a lot. So our webinar will be definitely connected with your current professional experience of how to really start one's career in software development and front-end development in particular. A recent Slashdata report says there are now 47 million developers worldwide. In 2025, that's almost 50% more than in 2022. That's clearly software development is booming, but those who are from sales and marketing, don't rush to quit your jobs. AI tools and large language models arrived, and now, unfortunately, for many of you, companies have become more selective, often choosing senior or AI skilled engineers over beginners. This is the first question arises, Natalie. With that in mind, what's the realistic time frame in your experience for a motivated beginner to reach a junior developer level?
That's really a good question. In my opinion, a realistic time frame is typically 6 to 12 months of intensive and consistent learning, around 20 or 25 hours per week. The key isn't just consuming tutorials, but actively writing code, building project, and debugging, of course. 6 months is achievable for those who can study almost full-time, like 8 hours per day. 12 months is more common and realistic for those balancing learning, like from 2 to 4 hours a day. Isn't time but skills. A junior developer can independently convert a design into code, add interactivity with JavaScript, and understand the task from a senior developer and complete it using documentation. So there is like general information, but we know that every developer has their own way on this. But I think that's from 6 to 12 months.
Kind of a realistic time frame. To be honest, it smells like those who are really patient enough, they can really start their career in software development. Thanks for sharing this real practices, Natalie. When it comes to learning how to do software development, it's always a challenge to either select a tech stack or make progress in it. Kind of everyone wants to become a developer, yet just a few are ready to keep learning, especially at the beginner and further a junior stage. So you should always keep learning and learning and learning to modernize your skills, right? Move on with your practicing. Natalie, in your opinion, what are the most common mistakes you see from your experience, from your pupils you taught at Teach Me Skills and other certificates? In your opinion, what are the most common mistakes beginners making that slow their development? So what they should not do?
Okay, I have some of them, 3 biggest mistakes. First one, there is tutorial hopping. There is jumping between, for example, React and Python and deep Webpack configuration without mastering one core stack first. For example, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and there is depends on the way. Would you like to be front-end developer or back-end developer? But first of all, there is about mastering one core stack. Second one, there is watching tutorial without coding or refactoring a first big project for perfect architecture. But the goal is first to make it work, your project, and then to make it good. And last one, being afraid to ask questions, share code, or seek help. Programming is a team sport. And of course, if someone from a student don't understand the question, the task, I usually ask about, okay, you have some time, for example, 2 hours, try to do it alone. Then if you can't understand or you have any questions, please ask from my side or from our colleagues in our group. But again, programming is a team sport when you're learning something.
Thanks a lot. This is a really valuable piece of advice, especially for those who are just at the start of their career. So, a good recommendation: first, select just one stack, then get concentrated on how to make progress in it, and um, be don't be afraid of asking questions from colleagues of an upper level, especially if you are taking some courses and you have in-person communications with your teacher, right? Or
Yeah.
with your tutor, mentor, call him or her wherever you wish. It doesn't absolutely change the main sense of it. Of course, that's an absolutely good recommendation for our beginners in software development, regardless of their path, front end or back end. We've discussed a lot about the fact of making progress, and we also should remember that learning is one thing, yet applying this knowledge for coding is another piece of the puzzle. Natalie, you've correctly mentioned that there is a mistake. You are watching tutorials, however, you do not code based on these tutorials, right?
Yeah.
And it means that being good at theory doesn't guarantee you'll be hired by Google for high-end products development. So start applying the knowledge you received. One of the main problems of almost all beginners is that having their theory basis, they are trying to realize the impossible things, like commencing creating another ChatGPT instead of doing some simple tasks using HTML, right? So this is absolutely weird case. Would be nice to get your point of view if you could share your experience of why do some learners know the theory but struggle to produce working code. Maybe you've also faced the same case when you started your own career, or maybe you have it repeated with your current students.
In my opinion, because theoretical knowledge and practical coding are two different skills. It's like knowing all the grammar rules but can't write an essay. The issue is a lack of practice in problem solving decomposition, the ability to break a large task into small, codable steps. They know what a loop, for example, but don't know when to apply it to filter a list of products. So first of all, there is, of course, you should have some knowledge, some information, some theoretical, but practical also important, in my opinion.
No, there is nothing to add, to be honest. And I would say, really eating this elephant step by step, chunk by chunk,
Yeah.
helps a lot, right? To divide a task into some parts. And if you are not quite experienced in that, you can always address this question either to your teammates, right? To
Yeah.
your students' mates, or ask maybe your teacher, or ask an AI tutorial on how to divide this task into really structural parts to help you uh, making progress and learning at this specific tech stack or at this specific task. Natalie, maybe you've heard about this stat in 2025, this year, nearly a quarter of tech job listings explicitly ask for AI skills from front-end developers in particular. Companies now expect front-end masters to not only build static pages, but also manage stateful complex apps and even incorporate AI-driven features into the user interface. I've heard from you some days ago that you also had this experience of incorporating AI features into modern UI designs. This really sounds like a challenge right now, being able to also produce something along with AI, right? I mean, AI-based features, because for some beginners it becomes challenging to start coding, but here you should also be an expert in AI as well, right? And be ready to give this functionalities as well. How behind any AI, first it's data, then this technology. So just select which technology you will be learning in order to implement it into your current stack. The reality really can become way easier when you know how to approach this challenge. We can start with building the right project portfolio first. This is especially fruitful for beginners. Natalie, from your point of view, with all your over 7 years of experience in development, what kind of projects should a beginner, that's really important, a beginner showcase in a portfolio to stand out in today's market, just to perform better in comparison with all the rest candidates on this position they are looking for?
First of all, I would like to recommend that avoid to-do apps and some kind of calculator clones. Build projects that solve a real problem or demonstrate their key concepts. A project that used a real API, for example, weather API, movie finder, or a map with custom markers. This shows some interviewers that you can work with external data. A project with your own design, something you designed and implemented yourself, show product sense, not just execution. A simple but complete project. A small application is far more impressive than a large broken one. I always try to learn my students about one interesting thing. You can add something, always you can add something in your project. It can be some animation stuff or additional logic, for example, but there is will something new and something special for this. Just try not to be shy, just try to add, just try to add some reviews after this, because now if some of you who can watch this right now on this way just ask about something, just try, because really it's very interesting and very important. I think when developer can add some propose to customer, for example, oh, I have this idea and I would like to add this. And also if you have interesting project and you add some interesting idea, that's always will do your project more interesting, more impressive, I'd like to say.
Absolutely agree. In order to start, just start, right? And there is a good piece of advice to implement different ideas, kind of different small projects into one portfolio to showcase various application aspects of your own skills, hardware skills, especially those ones which are really important and essential for any software developer. However, usually the front end is just a part of the entire project. And it means that you should be ready to interact with backend team, delivery mates, and those responsible for front office and clients interaction. In the recent survey made by Molstat, 65% of developers report that poor communication is a barrier to successful collaboration on projects. Hence, software engineering is not just about writing code. That's the right moment for us right now, Natalie, to also express the opinion, the expert one, regarding the non-tech skills. Everyone, I mean, every beginner who is aiming to become a junior developer and join a professional software development team. So non-tech skills everyone should have when dreaming about a junior position. In your opinion, and based on your current experience of collaborating in teams, delivering the projects, which non-tech skills are most critical right now for a junior developer's success, and especially for those who are just at the beginning of their career?
That's really interesting question. I think the ability to clearly ask question and describe problem. For example, my code is broken, is bad. I'm trying to do this one. I expect this one, but I get this one. Here is the code and the error is excellent. Accepting constructive code review without taking in personality. Your code will be critiqued. It's how you learn. The ability to search for answer and read documentation before asking for help. Knowing when to flag that you're stuck well before the deadline. I think that's one of the important thing, for my opinion. If you would like to prepare for this way, non-technical skills important, and not be like again shy. Just ask, but ask about, we again just return step by step big problem, just break down to the small one, and also try to describe about your problem and what you would like to expect, what did you try again, and what do you want to get from this.
Thanks, Natalie. Sounds clearly, especially for those who don't understand what exactly they required in their first place. Just communication. Start
Yes.
communicating with the team. Even the most professional large language model will not understand your request if you say that your code is broken. Even the most professional large language model. And imagine a person, your team lead, who has a bunch of tasks for this day, right? A lot of on his or her plate. He or she will not also understand you. So clearly explain what you're not, what you don't know, what you don't know, what you can't understand, what you're not capable of doing right away, right? And ask questions, attract your teammates, learn new, explore information from books, from tutorials. Maybe find one mentor whose approach you really like and who will guide
Mhm.
you within your path of software development career, right? Up to some particular level, right? So even Natalie Yarish can be your mentor at the beginning. So after this, below to this webinar, you'll also receive the link to outreach Natalie and receive interesting and most valuable recommendations on how to proceed with your career at software development. Natalie, when it comes to developing hard skills, say, not so um, that's not so difficult to develop hard skills, to be honest, because you open a book, you switch on a YouTube tutorial, and you start coding. But when it comes to non-technical skills, it's always a problem how to proceed with them, where to start, right? Which exactly, I mean, soft skills you need to have for each particular team you are joining. For sure, at this meeting, we will not be able to list all these tech skills, right? At least some of them, kind of communication, flexibility, the capacity to find and argue with teammates, giving constructive critics, right? Being able to interact with the others to solve problems and so on. So everything related to team interaction. Based on your experience, maybe the experience of those who also struggled with developing their non-technical skills, how can beginners develop these non-tech skills while still getting focused on learning to code?
That's also important question. In this way, when you would like to start or would like to improve your knowledge for now in this sphere and development. But in my opinion, that's integrate some points into your learning process. First of all, as you already mentioned, there is communication. I'd like to recommend keep a devlog. For example, write down the problem, what you tried, and how you eventually solved it. This structure your thinking, and then you can always return back and just to see where you was you in a good way or in a bad, or you need to improve something. But you will have this devlog, and you will see your progress. Then, for handling feedback, post your code on GitHub, for example, and ask for feedback in the community if you are learning something alone. Because again, there is a team sport. For autonomy, before asking your mentor or a colleague, force yourself to answer. For example, what I'm trying to achieve, what I already tried, and what exactly went wrong. There is two ways when you're learning alone something and when you have a mentor for this. If you have someone who can help you, it doesn't matter that's mentor or there is some colleagues, but this process will be faster because you know exactly what do you need for learning. You know your You know how are you thinking right now, and you know on which position you should change your way. That's important.
Thanks, Natalie, for listing those recommendations. Those who is not aware of how to develop or where to start with progressing with their soft skills, it will be really important for them. And you've mentioned the different tools that are really like copilots in the learning process for juniors and for beginners in software development. However, this is an important thing of how much trust you put into them. And in the age of cheap and abundant AI, it's tempting to let tools like Copilot or ChatGPT do all the heavy lifting. For example, for senior developers, that's usually fine because they know how to do well, how to do perfectly well. And when it's high time to trust the output or go to double check it, because even ChatGPT makes mistakes and they write it in the bottom of the user interface. Always remember this. Even ChatGPT makes mistakes. So for beginners, it can be a bit like learning to ride a bike with a self-driving motorbike. You'll get places faster, but you might never learn how to pedal. So that's really important to understand how often you use AI tools and whether this is usage is really wisely done. And in the recent Clash study, they found that 59% of developers admit they rely on AI generated code, and this code, they rely on the code they don't fully understand. So kind of a slippery slope for beginners who make code without comprehension. This is absolutely weird. However, maybe there are some techniques and recommendations from you, Natalie, regarding this trust. How should beginners use tools like GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, and all the various large language models that are capable of creating code? So, what beginners should use and how to use without becoming dependent on them?
I recommend use them as an assistant. Always struggle with a problem yourself for at least 30 minutes first, and then use AI to write boilerplate code, suggest variable names, for example, comments, some complex code. Type the code out manually, not just copy paste. Just try to type for if you're on this beginning step. This forces your brain to process it. Always ask why. Follow up with prompts like why is this solution better or explain this line of code. You should understand that there is some different tools and different answers, but for beginners, very important understand about these steps. Why, what I should expect, and explain, for example, just all of this code. But also, if you're just a beginner, not just copy paste again. I always tell it because there is really important. If you will do copy paste, there is not like learning process. There is just you can use and you can use this code and then you can show your process, but you will not have understanding for this process. So that's from my side.
Thanks, Natalie. Fully agree because in the end, when you receive this dreamed, say, interview request from Google, Meta, OpenAI, call whoever you are willing to join their teams to. Anyway, within this interview, you'll be asked to produce the code yourself. Yes, perhaps some AI will be allowed by your site in order to help you, but anyway, your own knowledge that you've got through this learning, constructive learning process based on theory, making mistakes, learning from mistakes of the others will be really crucial. With that in mind, I've investigated some scientific articles. The results, which is called ResearchGates, show that large language models return widely different responses to the exact same prompt. For instance, GPT-4 consistency can be as low as 50%. And some models fall to under 5%. So asking AI on one question twice is like asking three developers to fix a bug and getting five different fixes. And here is the same say issue related with and related to this AI prompting or AI asking and AI interaction, right? don't expect that you'll receive the same answer again and again. It will be the same, say, strict performance from the AI model. Even AI models make mistakes, remember this. However, knowing that AI sometimes makes mistakes, sometimes they are not consistent in their answers they are providing to the users. And knowing this specific peculiarity, Natalie, how should a developer, especially a beginner, work with AI to approach coding tasks correctly? We already talked about the idea of having them as assistants, right?
Mhm.
However, there are some specific techniques on specific prompt engineering, or maybe kind of close everything, don't open it, and forget about AI for a day. Start doing yourself, and maybe without AI, you will become the most professional developer ever, because nobody knows what you're capable of until you start doing anything. So, in your opinion, in your experience, how should a developer really work with AI? Maybe you can also share your own experience, how you personally work with AI right now and applying it into your daily routine.
That's interesting because for now, that's everyone, every developer should use AI because that's really help in some situation. But as you mentioned before about this, the same prompts, I think this because they are probabilistic models, not database. They don't retrieve one correct answer, and they generate the most probable response based on their training data. And of course, a prompt can be interpreted in multiple ways. And how I understand and how I work with it, I treat it like getting opinion from several colleagues. You get multiply potential solution. Your job is analyze and then find common patterns, test them, and choose the best one. There is like mine work with AI because it's really I always see that I have one for example one question but ask in different AI tools and I have kind of different answer. But first of all, analyze, find common patterns, test, and then choose the best one.
A good piece of recommendation. Absolutely agree. Nothing to add, to be honest, because I also, when I'm using AI, I also applying these practices. I also like this idea of role-based approaching to AI. You're creating a specific, say, scenario for him or for her. I don't know which gender you're selecting for your ChatGPT account. So, kind of imagine you are a professional software developer, front-end tech stack, specifically in this area, with over 20 years in blah, blah, blah. Help me to do this task, right? So maybe after making this concrete prompt, AI will really provide you with the right answer. However, don't always rely fully on the final reply you received, because remember, AI first can make mistakes. Second, it not always gives you only one response. Sometimes maybe it's even easier to ask for 5 or 10 different responses at once, right? And as Natalie correctly mentioned, try to find patterns, what's in common, and already apply these common features and visuals into your work. And more specifically, try to apply it in your coding technique and check whether it works. Because in theory, it can look nice, but afterwards in practice, maybe it doesn't work at all. And it will not help you to create the specific button you requested code for.
Yeah, that's really interesting because sometimes you just ask something, you have answer, then you ask again, like, are you sure that it's a good way? And then, oh no, sorry, I will revise
Yes.
it. That's really interesting.
Yes, I like this. In this case, I always realize that AI will not definitely replace my job, so I keep calm and just making progress in my career, even as a sales manager. Because if you need to ask this AI again, are you sure? And it's not sure, so okay,
Okay.
okay, forget, dear AI, forget about your career development as a sales manager. Keep moving in what you are doing right away. Anyway, we've got used to the fact that early AI assistants, they acted like answer machines. So you asked a question and they gave you code. The case we discussed with you, Natalie. Useful. This is really useful option, right? Kind of an assistant, but not exactly educational. I'm sure, and I bet you already experienced it. There's newer versions now of AI and large language models. They experiment with learning modes and guided study features designed to explain concepts, encourage step by step thinking, and help users practice rather than just copy solutions. You open your account, and if you have your specific subscription with your large language model tool, you can activate this learning mode and you'll be able to get guided by this machine in doing wherever you wish. I mean, in learning wherever you wish, in our case, front end development. Natalie, question to you. Are there learning models and these learning modes in AI systems that can help studying programming concepts more effectively? What's your opinion on them? Maybe you tried and practiced them, and which ones and whether you're recommending in them to use this mode, pay for it, or it's better to purchase some course on front-end development and interact with a real person. It will be more efficient.
I really love work with AI in learning models, and I create them with my prompts. For example, explain to me like I'm five. Ask for simple explanation with real world analogs. That is very important for beginning also because when I start new group, I first of all I tell them like we have also AI. You should know what is it, and you should try. And if there is something complicated sentence, just write explain to me like I'm five, and that really can help with some technical problems or some code. Also, I use this for quiz. For example, quiz me on topic this one, test my understanding. And also, I usually use it for my students because after every topic, I add some quiz for my students and then add some explanation. For example, why this is right, not that. Also, create learning paths for study some topics. For example, in my profession, like I'm a front-end developer, I have also different ways for learning. And if I need to know about something about React, for example, I can structure my learning and ask about creating learning paths, for example, and generate a practical coding challenge for a JavaScript topic, for example, JavaScript closures and so on. There is apply theory and also apply some small task for my experience. And also why I love work on it because I can really use it for my students, for myself also, and that's really help when I have some prompts. That's why I love it, and I recommend everyone use it in these learning modes. But just for a simple word and for simple steps, step by step.
Thanks a lot, Natalie. It sounds like there are two ways, basically, and this is the matter of choice whether to pay for this subscription and receive this learning mode, or you can just learn prompt engineering and receive the same learning experience, right? So it depends on you. And maybe prompt engineering will be at least cheaper for those who are short of money. Plus, giving you some specific experience you may definitely apply in the future, because prompt engineering is one of the bases of working with large language models, especially those ones that are assisting you with your code generation, especially for routine tasks. Because though you are junior right now, in the future you'll be a senior, and you will definitely like to maybe dedicate some tasks to AI, especially routine ones. So be ready to learn prompt engineering already now, at least to avoid paying for subscription of ChatGPT for receiving this learning mode. Anyway, we are talking a lot about AI because, fortunately or unfortunately, right, depends on whether you love AI or you hate AI for something. We're talking a lot about this tool. And AI tools get faster at writing code, testing, and even documenting projects. That's already a fact. Plus, AI doesn't require coffee and biscuits, an annual corporate party in a luxurious restaurant. And here's the obvious question arises, Natalie. Will junior developer roles still be in demand, bearing in mind how fast AI progresses further?
I think yes, so, but the role will evolve. evolve. The demand for juniors who just write simple boilerplate code will vanish. AI does that better, that's fact. The demand for juniors who can will increase. For example, articulate precise task for AI. There is about prompt engineering, analyze, test, debug, and write AI-generated code because we know that there is a lot of mistakes can be in this code, and also you should know where is this and try, test, and debug. That's important. Integrate AI build components into your project. There is also one of the important thing right now, kind of important because there is like on the way of thinking everyone talk about AI, and that's also important. Understand and try to integrate even in your portfolio project some AI build, and understand business logic and user needs. That's also important for junior developer because can't AI do it instance of you? Can't. AI will take the color part of the junior job, but become a developer who really understand the whole system of this development process. You still need to go through the practice of building and failing. There's always work like that. You do something, you have some fails, you write it, but about AI, you need learn more than it was, for example, 3 years before, because now there is also one of from these important skills for junior developer understand this AI stuff.
Thanks, Natalie. Truly appreciate it because indeed, in order to be competitive in the market, especially at this stage of becoming a junior, stepping from the beginner stage, you should really be attractable and attractive to your future employers. So be excellent in something. Be ready to work with new skills, with new tags, right? Become a professional, at least step into this path, right? Because
Yeah.
anyway, as just a few days ago, one of my friends told me while I was preparing for this webinar, Renata, remember, without juniors, there will be no seniors. And this is true, true enough. So if you want to become a senior developer in the future, somehow begin with your junior path and don't be afraid of learning. Keeping moving with this. However, with AI making progress, some routine and easily formalized tasks are most quickly transferred to algorithms. And Natalie, and you were absolutely correct on this, right? Routine can be done by AI right now
Mhm.
instead of educating juniors, unfortunately. But nobody forbids you from creating some tasks for yourself sitting at home after your full time job, which is not related to your software development tasks at the moment. And when you are making your dream come true, you always put enough efforts to achieve wherever you wish in order to accomplish the final result of taking this place as software developer in some great company. Thus, every junior should really get prepared for the market changes which are happening right now, especially in this era of AI. Uh, we talk a lot, Natalie, about the uh, path of our software developers who are at the beginning of their career. So maybe some 3 to 5 recommendations for them not to get afraid of AI and of those changes that are happening. So, how can beginners get prepared today for the changes AI is likely to bring in the next few years? What do you think?
I think that first of all, shift your focus from writing code to solving problem. The skills of breaking a large complex problem into a small, clear step that can be described to an AI, like prompt engineering a little bit. Deep understanding of algorithm, data structure, design patterns, and how browsers work is crucial, in my opinion. AI won't give you this understanding. You need it to control to AI. Understanding what to build and for whom is becoming more important than how to build it, because the code is generated, and we talk a lot of about this topic today. Treat AI as a core tool in your toolkit, right next to Git and some your code editor. Learn to use it effectively. Effectively, it should be like your table book, but table app in your desktop. Always see it use AI nearly by your working process, this Git stuff, code editor, and so on, and try to see on that direction that you are not just writing code, you solve some problem in your project.
Absolutely, kind of a board navigation, right, for those who are at the beginning of their career. Natalie, thanks a lot for these recommendations. This is really time to wrap up, unfortunately, for our listeners. Thanks for your expert view, for your valuable time and your recommendations. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. I would like to wish everyone who will see this video just to be fun on this way and learning every day. That's important.
Regardless of your age and regardless of your expertise and experience, right? Especially now in this highly competitive world. For our listeners, comment, like, and subscribe not to miss the next episode in our series. And remember, tools change, framework come and go, but a mindset of continuous learning is your most valuable skill. So, bye for now.
Bye bye.